There we go. So, hello everyone. Welcome to this Bluegrass IIBA event about AI and using AI as a business analyst. So happy to have you here with us. We had, I think, about 50 people registered for this. There's 21 currently, so we'll give a minute for everybody else to join while I jabber on here. So if you don't know me, I am Aaron Wittenberger. I am currently serving as Vice President of Membership for the Bluegrass IIBA chapter. We have one of our esteemed members of the chapter here to present this event for us. This is actually a four-part series in which we're taking one of our business cases um, and breaking that down, understanding what the business case is, and that puts the business analyst with a challenge to accomplish. So basically, the start of a project or a work initiative. And then I think Van's got about a dozen prompts for this business case um, um, to prompt AI to get all kinds of information, not just requirements from ChatGPT or whichever generative AI um, you may use. So, Ben, I see that person's name. He finally made it.
Oh, good.
So, um, with that, and not to steal too much of his thunder, I'm going to turn
That's all
this
right.
over to our speaker. Again, this is four-part series. The next today and the next 3 Mondays, we're taking this one case study. We'll get 3 or 4 prompts done today, and then move into further prompts later on with that. So, with that said, let me introduce Van Miller. He's a long-term friend. We're actually now in the second company where he and I have worked together in that. So we are co-workers again. Um, and Van has really embraced AI at our company. He works with the vice president that was recently hired. I guess not so recently. He's been here over a year. Um, that is in charge of the automated intelligence at our company and everything. So Van works closely with them and has really embraced AI at our company. So with that said, take it away, Van.
All right. Hey, thank you, Aaron, for that introduction. And just to let everybody know today, hey, what we're gonna do is this is kind of a working session, so kind of want to make it hands-on for you. So we're gonna have, you know, if you have a GPT that you use, kind of have it ready, and we're gonna upload some things into it, look at the results, give it some prompts, and we're gonna kind of look and see what kind of results we all get. And the idea here is that we're trying to do things that can help us with our day-to-day work. It's the we're going to get some results from AI in any given AI scenario. If you're doing work like this where you're having it summarize documents or give you, you know, answers back based on a document or whatever, none of it is really you would want to just take this and go to your stakeholders and go, yep, here you go. Here's this list of requirements, or here the stakeholder summary, or whatever it is. You want to review it. AI can hallucinate. It can go off on a little bit of a tangent sometimes, and it may not be the tangent you want. And so you just have to review it, and might have to fine tune it a little bit. But the idea would be that just like if you've ever been a developer and you've developed your own code, you don't want to start from scratch if you don't have to. Like if you can get a starting point that gets you halfway there, 75% of the way there, it's worth it to take that starting point and then tweak it and then make it your own. So that's kind of the approach that we're taking with this. So hopefully that makes sense. Does anybody have questions about that? Okay.
So Van, I think what is good to consider is just think of generative AI, ChatGPT, or whichever one you use as an assistant or an intern. I like the idea of intern because you're going to ask it for things for information and to do part of your work for you and everything, but you want to check its results. And
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly the way to look at this. And that's really kind of what these things are marketed as is an assistant. And like Aaron says, it may be a fairly bright assistant, but it may not have a lot of experience, so it can go off on just like well, like I said, it can go off on tangents, just like an intern would if you didn't give them a lot of instruction. They're going to go off on a tangent. They're probably going to work hard for you, but they might give you exactly what you want. Uh, but that's a really good way to look at it. Um,
so tell them the story about the attorney that used
Oh, sure. Yeah.
ChatGPT.
So one of the things that can happen is, and this happened in the real world, uh, was, there was an attorney, I think it was in New York or something like that, where they had done some of their research for case studies, and if we're looking at other cases, prerequisite pre, uh, what would they call those? Other cases that are similar to their case, meaning like, hey, you can have an argument based on this other case. Uh, and they used AI to do that, and they didn't check their work very well. So they took all that. They had this previous case. They took it to the judge. The judge kind of did a little bit more due diligence on it than they did and found out, hey, you know what? This case doesn't actually really exist. AI kind of hallucinated it. Maybe it was some fictitious case from a book or work of fiction. Who knows? But they weren't checking their facts very well when they were presenting their case. And so yeah, anyway, so very bad things happened from that to for the poor, the lawyer that did it, the client, all that. So that's just an example where things can go wrong for you if you don't check stuff. So you want to check it. You don't want to end up, looking like it can make you look foolish if you're not careful because it'll give you a really good answer, really detailed, sounds good, but it may not be quite right. So you got to really check it out before you move forward with it. Um, so that being said, what I was going to do first is we'll talk a little bit about the case study that we're going to do. Um, this is an insurance claims case study. And what I was going to do, and let me see what you think about this too, Aaron. I mean, the case study is about 7 pages long, and we're going to share it out in the chat and have you download it. But also, in order to get everyone familiar with it, what I was thinking of doing is taking this case, putting it into our GPT, and having it give us like a one paragraph summary or something like that of the case study, if that makes sense. I
Hey,
don't know.
yeah, let's give that a try.
Let's do that just to kind of get things started. What I'd like you to do, maybe if you're going to be here for the next 3 sessions, when you download this case study to your computer and actually read it. It's 7 pages long. It'll take a little bit of time to read it. I didn't want to necessarily take time to read it here today, but if you read it, then it's going to help you to be able to validate the results that the AI comes back with and get you familiar with the case. So I know we're all starting from ground zero. So let's let's do that. So what I'll do is let me open up the chat.
I fed the case study to this
Oh, you
chat.
put it in there already? Thank you, Aaron, for
Yeah.
doing that. Appreciate that. So there's the case study. And so you'll want to download that to your computer. So I'll give you guys a minute to do that. In the meantime, I'll share my screen and we'll get ready to upload it and ask a couple questions about it. Um,
Why don't you
just
upload it and do what you suggested
yeah,
is
you can do what I
for
said
a summary.
exactly. Yeah, I give a
Go ahead
summary.
and show them that.
Yeah, let's do that. So let me share my screen with you all.
Maybe.
Maybe hang on a minute. Yep, it's taking a second. Add a few different. I'm not that used to using Zoom, so I use Teams a lot. So Zoom isn't my norm. So bear with me if I get a little bit off track. But you should see my screen now.
Yes, we
Uh,
see it.
in this case, it's Copilot. It just happens to be what my company uses. So, and it's probably it's I would say since it's a Microsoft product and there's a lot of Microsoft businesses out there, Copilot I think is going to be a player for a long time in the AI GPT world. But Chat GPT, Claude, whatever, they're all other really good ones out there, and there's more every day. So it just depends on what you want to do with it. In our case, we use Copilot because of the security around it. We can secure this within our enterprise so that our information isn't used to teach the large language model, which isn't true of the things that you use for free from your own PC or whatever. You have to be a little bit careful about, what you're doing with it. If you don't have some kind of an enterprise secured solution, you may not want to put confidential or personal information into it. Um, Ours is protected because we're using enterprise version. But anyway, that being said, what we'll do is, uh, if you'll see here, this is what Copilot looks like in this case. It's just a prompting tool. So say, hi, what can I help you with? And what we're going to do is we're going to upload a file into it, which is that summary file. So we'll go down here, we do add. We're going to pick that summary, the case study, which is this. We're going to say, open it. And we're going to ask a question. We're going to say, for this case study, please give me I'll say, how long do you guys want it to be? About a paragraph summary? Does that sound good?
I would just use the word short.
I'll say short. Please give me a
Short summary.
short summary.
Otherwise, yeah, it could go on and give you like a 3-page summary.
Yeah, that's why I was going to limit it to like a paragraph or something like that. So let's see. We'll see what it says, and we can always fine tune it. That's the great thing about this. If it comes back and we don't like it, it's too long or too short, we can say, okay, let's give it some tighter parameters. So let's do that.
It's thinking, it's thinking.
Yep, it'll take a minute to think about it. And here we go. So
And it
it's not too
actually has
bad.
to read that PDF. So
Yeah, the PDF, I can bring that over too if you guys want to see what that looks like.
so in that minute or
Yeah,
90 seconds, it
yeah,
it read the entire PDF and has produced the summary for you. Now, can you do it that fast?
no, absolutely not. Right. So, yes, so this is pretty neat that it can do that. So here's kind of what the PDF looks like, just if you haven't opened it up and looked at it. Looks like this. So it's a claims system. Now I'll go ahead and scoot this off to the side and let's take a look and see what the summary says.
I guarantee you it took me longer than a minute or 90 seconds to write that thing.
Yeah, Aaron put this together, so thanks to him for doing that. And I know I can tell he's put some time into it. It's a pretty realistic case study for a insurance claim system. So
And
here's
no,
so
it's
here's what
not from our company.
no, it is not from our actual company. It is fictitious. So, but it is a real world, could be a real world problem. So what it's saying here is, okay, so this summary of the insurance claims notification system case study. Maybe what I'll share this one, then I'll have somebody else share their result as well. I mean, we'll just see what we get from it. So Pacific Shield Insurance is facing significant customer satisfaction due to poor communication during the claims process, and that is their big problem. Customers feel uninformed, anxious, and frustrated because they must call customer service or log into a portal to check claim status. Uh, this has resulted in 3,500 plus weekly calls, long wait times, and an NPS score of 42, which is a customer satisfaction score. Uh, Company processes 8,000 claims a month using legacy system called ClaimTrack and has recently adopted a CRM system and messaging tools, but they're not integrated. Contact information is inconsistent across systems. Key objectives: reduce status inquiry calls by 40%, improve the NPS score, increase operational consistency or efficiency, provide transparent, proactive status communication. That's one of the probably the key things is it's going to provide proactive communications about their claims. That's what people's big gripe is. Um, Solution will involve SMS/email, managing customer communications, following the SMS rules. Major challenge include legacy system integration, real-time notification, inconsistent data, multi-state regulatory, which is true of this thing. I think it's across 12 states, stakeholder alignment, and potential resistance. Success will be measured through call volume and opt-in rates, um, etc. So, I mean, that's pretty good. The gist of it is that, just from my reading of it, is, their big problem is their customers don't know what's going on with their claims. When they make a claim, they don't get any kind of texting or any kind of status to tell them where they're at. And they have to keep calling and checking on it. And when they call and check on it, might have a long wait time in the call center. So the other thing they have is they have a lot of different, they like everybody in America, you have different customers out there. You have people that don't use, maybe uh, uh, older customers that don't use SMS, don't use email. They just want to be called or whatever. Then they have very young customers in their 20s that, when I order a pizza, and, I see all the steps to making the pizza. Why in the heck can't my claim look like that? So uh, they have that. That's the other extreme. So anyway, so that's what we got there. Now let me ask this: does anybody else want to? Can they volunteer to share what kind of result you got and talk about it a little bit?
No. Well, I can talk about, I got a different result.
Let's see what you got if you don't mind sharing.
I don't, let me figure out how I'm supposed to share my screen here.
I'll
On
stop
the
sharing.
on the bottom of your
Oh,
window,
yeah.
there's a share button.
Mhm.
Participants, share. I see. All right. Desktop one.
There you go. We're
Can you see it?
desktop one. Nope.
Not yet.
Can't see it?
What is
Zoom. Okay, open systems, security and privacy, blah, blah, blah,
You're at work, aren't you?
blah. Okay, let's wait a second here. No, let's okay. Password. May not be able to record of your screen until it's quit. Okay. So are we seeing anything? No?
No.
Can you see it now?
No.
We got your
No.
picture.
Says screen one, entire screen. Here, let's see. Can you see? Oh, can you see it now?
Now we got your
Nope.
name.
You should be able to see my screen.
Oh,
No,
let's
we're
see.
not seeing anything.
It's here. I've
Ah, something's coming.
Oh,
There
we
it
see
is.
it now.
ah,
Aha.
there you go.
Nice. I see you're using Copilot as well. Great.
Well, I had them both open, but because I really wanted to
Oh, I
follow along
see.
what you were doing, I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, I'm going to be careful and use the same thing. So I didn't catch exactly the instruction that you gave it. So I'm
It's
not quite,
okay. We can
but
look at what you said.
so what I did here was I just typed in, like, give me a short summary of the case. Here, provide a short summary of the case study. And so this
Yeah,
is
it's fine.
That's short.
exactly. So what did you type in, Aaron? What did you
Let
ask?
me,
I typed in, please provide a short summary of the case study.
Ah, okay.
And my results actually customers must currently call customer service or log into the portal to get updates resulting from high call volumes, frustration, and low net promoter score of 42. So that's what it identified. The company processes about 8,000 claims per month using legacy claim system that is not integrated to the newer CRM and notification tools. So that's what it's set up as, the challenges that the BA is facing.
Yeah, so the way I did the query, it didn't it didn't understand, like it didn't give me the details of the case study itself, of the data in it, the content seemingly, like
Hmm,
not as specific as yours,
yeah,
you know,
and
it does offer like an executive summary, and I remember that yours did as well.
yes.
Hmm.
I wonder if our executive summary would be more similar.
Yeah, you could
You
click it
know,
and see what it gives you. Yeah.
even my results don't specify that, the case study identifies eight, or were there nine key stakeholders? Um, so that's in the case study, is it identified who the key stakeholders were that the BA is going to take through this change initiative.
Hmm.
And my summary that I got from, and I'm actually using ChatGPT.
Ah, okay.
I'm just
Um,
I'm just curious.
Well,
I any of you using the personalization, stating that you're a business analyst or something like that, and if people do not know what I'm talking about, um, you can put in everything from, what your position is, how you want, like an executive summary. Do you want it this way? Um,
mhm.
I'm just curious if people have done that, and if you do that, uh, you're going to get hopefully a better answer. Like I've put in, yeah, give me an executive summary every time, and give me, certain items that I want to see each time, and I've been getting better answers.
hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. It's all about the context. Like the more context you can put in like that, that personalization, um, then your answer is going to be a little bit better focused to what,
And,
to what you need. Um, and
and
yeah,
The
so I mean that makes a
perspective,
lot of sense.
the
now,
perspective, the perspective of a BA versus a project manager, perhaps. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And Scott, there's two ways you can actually accomplish that. So one is to set up a BA, an expert BA AI agent, and ask and prompt through your AI agent. And then
Yep.
it has all that background already in it. Or you could put it just in the prompt and say, I am a business analyst with 15 years of experience, been assigned to this case, initiative, this work initiative to increase, notifications for insurance claims. And here's the case study, give me, so you could put it right there in the prompt, that you're the BA assigned to this thing, and you got 10, 15 years experience or whatever. And you're right, Scott. I mean, absolutely, you can get a different answer by adding that context.
And I guess, Aaron, that's a great idea about having an agent, but you just prompted me to. There's something in Copilot called the prompt coach that
Mm,
is also
Yes.
gold. I mean, gold. I mean,
yeah.
what you do is you type in whatever you want, and then into that prompt coach, and you say, "Give me a better prompt," and it'll give you a huge prompt, and it's goal, context, all these different rules. It'll turn like a 3-line prompt that you put in into a better prompt that the AI can read and give answers on.
Where's the
Yeah.
prompt coach?
If you go into, um, let me see if I can share.
Yeah. So what you're talking about there, Scott, is what we call, prompt engineering, but it's a well-structured prompt where it's giving you all kinds of context
Yep.
before asking the question.
But it sounds like you're saying there's an actual feature
It
Now, there's
is.
an
It's
actual
that,
a
feature. So if you're in
mhm,
here, if you go into all agents, like so
uh-huh,
you see a couple of things, you go into all agents, then what it'll have is this little agent store.
uh-huh.
And these are just built by Microsoft, right?
Oh,
So researcher, a must-have for any business analyst. I even use it more than analyst, but this will give you research a company. Um, I've asked it to, we did a due diligence on a vendor, a software vendor. I said, give me whether there are any lawsuits, any social media issues, all this stuff. And researcher went out all over the web. It even went out to see if it was a Delaware corporation, whether it was active and everything. So researcher is a great thing, but it's this prompt coach, which
mhm.
you would see down here as one of these things as an agent. And when you use it, what you could do is like put it into there. You could actually upload the document and say, I want to prompt about this and I want X, Y, and Z with it. And it will turn this into a prompt, much better prompt.
very nice.
Yeah, and know that you can customize these coaches too for your own purposes. It comes from Microsoft pre-built, but
Yes.
you can also go and change the context around to make it suit your needs. So it gives you kind of a general prompt coach. And they have a writing coach. They have several of the, like that researching one, I'm sure is the same way too. You can go and fine tune it if you to make it your own. So once you add it to your list of agents, that you use, you can make it your own. So you could call it, prompt coach, van or whatever, and then it's you got your own version and you can fine tune it. So very useful, especially if, like you're saying, my context is frequently going to be a BA doing prompting. So you could build a prompt, an agent that says, "Hey, I'm a BA," and all the stuff about your context. You could even add context about your project. A BA who's working on an insurance claims, you know, uh, project, blah, 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 put all that stuff. And then you can save it as an agent. And then you don't have to, every time you go into the prompt, you don't have to put in the context again every time. It brings context in for you. That's the big plus about using an agent.
Are we allowed to do that internally?
Yeah, we can here at our company. We can do
Yeah.
that for sure.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, so yeah, play around with
So
it. And
Ben,
yeah.
Uh,
you're getting responses in
Oh, the chat.
chat and that, so getting a lot of interaction there.
Oh,
So
good.
can I,
ChatGPT gave me 4 paragraphs and a very thorough summary. Janet says, I requested a 300-word summary specifically. Claude gave me 3 long paragraphs, while Gemini gave me an explanation and bullet points. Mind you, that
Gotcha.
Claude will give you bullet points if you ask for them.
I'm sure it would. Yeah, and depending on the format, and that's the beauty of these things too, is, if you don't like the format that it came back in, you can just tell it to adjust. Um, I like too, Janet, that you're looking at all three of them. You're looking at Claude, Gemini, uh, and look, I guess you're looking at two, Claude and Gemini, to see what they tell you. Um,
Stephen is using Copilot, gave me 4 paragraphs and bullet points of the customer pain points, business objectives, risks, success criteria, and business analyst challenge.
oh,
So
nice.
that seems like a well-rounded summry.
It does.
Just just didn't identify the key stakeholders.
It looks like I see two from Janet.
Janet,
Yeah.
Janet,
She's
I'm
divorcing
close to
Chat
divorcing
GPT.
Chat GPT.
Claude is really good these days. And you know what I think it's going to be too, just FYI for these different GPTs, it's going to be a leapfrogging thing. They're all going to be trying to one up each other. Claude is really good right now. It's just going to be a matter of time till one of these other big players is a little bit better. So, any given time, it's going to be kind of a one up in each other on functionality
I
and
find Claude
things like that.
writes with a little more flair than what the others do.
Yeah, right now I think Claude is really getting a lot of great traction and great feedback, but it it could change when someone else comes out with something that's better. So, and I think it will happen. These companies are all vying for the business. So,
Is
I had a
Claude
question
Google?
about,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I just had a question about the agents. Is that only available in the enterprise version of Copilot?
I
I
think
don't
so.
think you can get it in the free version. I know it's definitely available in the enterprise version, like you
Oh, actually,
saw.
actually, it's the enterprise. Yeah, no, I just had somebody on my team not have it, and I said, "Wait, why don't you have it?" I thought it came with like the base one in the company, but he had to get the pro version in order to get those agents.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, I see.
You have to get the upgraded one at least. Maybe you don't necessarily have to have the enterprise version, but I don't think you get it on the free version. I'm
Okay,
pretty
I see.
sure. At
Okay.
least last time I looked, you didn't, because I was checking that myself a little while back. But you know what? That could change. I could see that changing tomorrow, where from Microsoft, you're like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and let the free version build agents. Why not? Uh, so they don't have it last time I checked, but every time when you check, I'll tell you what, on this stuff, every time you check and see what new functionality is out there, it changes. So things change all the time in this thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
So
Let's remember.
that's a good question. Is how do you keep up on it? How does everybody keep up on this stuff on what's out there? Because sometimes, listen, the company's going to come to you and say, "Hey, what's out there?" And I would love to just have a list of, "Hey, here are the changes." Is there anybody on a mailing list or anything that sort of keeps people up to date with this stuff?
as far as the different ones and what they do, I think I don't know of one, and it really kind of depends on your situation. In my company, because of security, the only one we're allowed to use is Copilot. Everything else is disabled just because we don't want to share our information. It's because
Yeah, same
we
here.
can have sensitive information.
Yep.
So really, in my company, and I'm not necessarily on the team that keeps our AI implementation, updated or installs updates. So I don't necessarily know what's going on. Um, but that's who would know would be, whoever your group is that's managing your implementation of Copilot, they should know what's going on. Um, I'm not necessarily, I don't have time to keep track of all that. So I didn't ask to be part of it, but you probably could ask and you could probably be part of it if you wanted to. But uh, to some extent with Microsoft too. They put stuff in, once you're signed up for their service, you know, you're going to get a lot of stuff. How anybody keeps up with all that, I don't know. So that's not an easy ask. That's a tough one. What I usually see is I see new things pop up that it can do, and I'm like, oh, cool, it does that now. And it's news to me, and it doesn't even, we don't even see it on our own intranet, because I think the folks that are implementing it on our side, um, you know, I'm not sure they have the kind of time needed to, put that out every time some update happens, that they're putting that out on our intranet for people to read. And even if they did, are those people going to be inundated anyway with AI stuff? No, I'm not sure how practical that is. At least in my situation, I don't know about yours.
So, man, it's time to prompt.
Yeah, let's prompt some stuff. So that being said, let's do this now. Uh, so we have uh, looked at that summary, and really good way of seeing, hey, how can a summary work? What can it do for you? Summarize a 7-page document in a paragraph or two. Now let's take this. Let me share my screen with you. We'll go back to AI, and let me share this guy. You should see my screen.
It's coming in. There it is.
Yep.
You're on the
And
agent store.
I'm in the agent store, but what we'll do is And if you're using Copilot, then you've got this, like Steven showed you, all these things, and then you can make your own agents over here. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to start a new chat, and what we're going to do is we are going to one of the reasons to do this, just FYI, once you've started a conversation about, say, the document, we started a conversation and said summarize it. I could leave it in there and we could keep keep going and prompting it. I kind of want to start over because I want to start clean. So, if you want to like if you start to get off track in your prompts, or you're starting to not get results that you want, or you're like, hey, you know what, I just want to start fresh, start a new conversation, and it'll forget about what you had before. So
What Chat GPT or the Gen AI will forget.
right,
It
it'll forget.
doesn't keep memory across your chats or anything. So
Yeah,
if you
you
start a
could.
new chat, it's telling it, like, be a kid, forget what we just said, and
Yep, start over. And just FYI too, if you wanted to go back to it, I do have it in my history for a limited amount of time. Like I could go back to that chat and we could bring it, reanimate it if we wanted to. But I just kind of want to start over because I don't want it to get confused about what we want. I'm off of the summary idea and I'm back to I want to get into the details. So the reason to do that is I'm gonna start a new chat for that. So what we'll do is we'll start a new chat. We'll upload that content again. This guy, our case study. And I'll have you all do this too if you like. And then we'll do a prompt. We'll do our first prompt here. In this case, and what I've got is, Aaron and I have some prompts that mostly Aaron worked on. Aaron worked on all these prompts. I'm just teaching them. So I'll give him all the credit for these prompts. Like them or don't like them. Now you'll love them. They're great. So we'll do our first prompt. So we've talked a little bit about what a summary of that document is, what it's doing. It's about a claims system that doesn't notify the customers very well. And, we're going to start to do our BA work of how to fix that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to prompt this. Maybe.
put it in the chat for you, Van.
Oh, thank you. Yep. So thanks. Appreciate that. So we're going to do this. We're going to say, it's going to take this case study and say, based on this insurance claims notification case study, create a detailed stakeholder analysis table that includes the stakeholder name and role, level of influence, level of interest, key concerns and priorities, communication preferences, potential resistance points, and suggest 3 to 5 key questions I should ask each primary stakeholder group during requirement elicitation. So let's go ahead and fire that off and see what we get.
So here we're not even doing requirements yet. So here we're asking for a stakeholder analysis. Um, and this is, I think, the fourth case study we've done. We've asked for communication plans. We've asked for business rules. We've asked for, just all kinds of things. But we have requested requirements, which I think is our next prompt that we're going to do. But something we said at the beginning, it can help you with a lot more than just requirements.
Absolutely. Yep. And one of the really key things too that it can help you with, that I've noticed that it can help me with, and it's something to keep an eye out for, is a different point of view. As BAs, like if you're the only BA that's studying this and you're figuring out, okay, I want to start setting up some interviews with the key stakeholders. You can read this document and based on what figure out, okay, here are some key questions I should ask. Now, but maybe, like if I were to have Aaron look at this too, or any of you, you might come up with some other questions too that are really good questions that I didn't even think of. So having this uh, uh, Copilot or any kind of GPT really can help you from another point of view. It can bring up things that it might bring up So, of these questions, you're like, oh yeah, the first two questions are obvious. Wow, that third question, I didn't even consider asking about that. And you may not ask that exact question, but this might lead you to another train of thought of, yeah, I need to go down that train of thought with this person or somewhere in this project and ask these questions, because otherwise I wouldn't even have thought of it. So I think that's one of the really great things that this can help you with. Uh,
So
so
we get a table in your results?
yeah, so here is the
Or
result.
a table. Um,
So yeah, stakeholder analysis table.
yeah, I
And
got a table too.
I'll tell you what, instead of showing this table, maybe I'll have one of you. Does anybody want to share their result from their table? And we'll talk about what they got.
You just got H's for influence and interest. It wouldn't even spell it out for
I
you.
guess it's high. Yeah, it just said high, medium, and low. Oh, what here? It did up above. So it gave a legend. Look at that.
Ah, okay.
High, medium, and low. It told me what the legend is. That's pretty good. Um,
Yeah, mine showed high and high, but no legend was spelled out.
okay, so it spelled it out.
Yeah,
I'll page down this.
mine gave me words too.
Cool. I'll page down this one for a second, and then maybe we'll have somebody share. So, we have Jennifer Martinez, who is the claims operations executive, and we see what her concern is and priorities: high influence, high interest,
Mhm.
and if we drop down, we should see some things over two
It gave you
on the
questions.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you are.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I got some really great questions down below. 5 questions for each stakeholder. So it's really cool.
yeah, so I got just to show the whole table. Yeah, it shows it kind of listed out the different things. And then one of the things you can do with all of this is you can upload it. You could put this into Word or Excel or whatever. You take this result and then go and tweak it, fix it up, do what you need to do with it. Obviously review it, make sure it's good. So then here's some of the questions. It came up with about 5 questions apiece. So for the VP of claims, okay, beyond the 40% call reduction and NPS score, what executive outcomes would you say make this rollout a clear win in 6 to 12 months? Not a bad question. What nice to have ideas are explicitly out for the first release. One of the things that we saw in this claims system is, we were talking about doing texting, SMS texting. And really for our solution, we're talking about texting out. Now, what if they have a question? What if our customer has a question though? Are we going to let them text us back and ask us questions, or what are we going to do? So that needs to be hammered out. So it's drawing attention to that. Hey, SMS can work two ways. You know, it doesn't have to be just push. So if you didn't think of that, that'd be a good thing for you to know. Operational guardrails, what are your non-negotiables around adjust for workload and change tolerance? So uh, one of the things they talked about in this case study is there was a little bit concern about the adjusters and how they were going to update the systems. Because if you're going to try to make this thing real time, you're going to have to make your adjusters update it real time too. So your adjusters might have a little bit more work to do, and they may have to do things a little quicker. But on the other side too, though, it's like if our customers are really unhappy about their claims and how the status is, your adjuster's going to have to do a little bit more work because you want to keep your job, right? Other companies are doing this; they can do it. We got to be able to do it. If that means you got to do a little bit more work, you got to do more work. Um, so otherwise, we're not going to have a company. Uh, KPI cadence, which leading indicators, non-opt-in delivery status. So it's asking a little about KPIs. That might be a good thing for you to think about too. If as you're talking to the VP of claims, hey, what KPIs do we want to start tracking out of this once if we did implement it, and risk. So there's just one example of the different the different kinds of questions that we could ask. Let me ask, does anybody want to share something they got?
Can we move on to the next?
Oh yeah, we can. Sure.
Because it's getting close to the end of our time. So let's get a second prompt in.
Let's do the second one. Okay, sounds good. So we'll go
And
over
for this
here.
one, you do not need to upload the document again. If it's in your
Right.
chat or your this series of chats you're having with the chat GPT, you don't have to upload it again. You just need to upload it once. Now, if you start a new chat, then you have to upload it again. So we're talking
Okay,
about
so
analyzing the current state.
yes. So yep, we're kind of in discovery, analyzing the current state. We'll put another prompt in here. So we're analyzing the current state, and it says, please generate a comprehensive list of discovery questions organized by people, process, technology, data, compliance that I should investigate in order to understand the as-is state before designing the notification solution. So really good prompt. Always key to understand the current state before you can even begin to think about the future state. Let's see what it tells us.
Mine started with the claims adjusters. You were just talking about that.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, those guys will be impacted because it's going to impact the way they do their work. Because if we want this to be real time, they got to get their data in real time, or near real time. So here we go. So below is a comprehensive set of discovery questions organized by people, process, technology, data, and compliance. So yeah, mine started right out with claims adjusters too. One of the key things, how do they update the claims codes within that version for our claim track system, which is really key. That's like one of the key things. If those guys don't have a way to quickly update that claim system, we're in trouble. It doesn't matter how good of a back end we build if the front end doesn't have the data coming in the time frame that we need it. Not going to be any good. So really good question. Pretty smart. Um, so it's got the claims adjusters, customer service reps, customer claimants, um, things about the process, mapping, workflow, customer initiative, inquiry, exception handling, some information about the technology, claim track. One of the things about claim track it has 14 different status codes within it. We didn't get into what those are in the document, but that's what it would need to know in order to build a system that's going to show you the status. We're going to need to know what those statuses mean and how they're updated and all that. So pretty good. Um,
I see it's categorizing your questions there just as the prompt asked it to categorize them by people, process, technology, data, and compliance. So you could see those categories. Here's
yeah,
data
there's
there.
data, all the data stuff. Let's just look at the first one.
So you should have one for compliance.
Compliance is next.
So did it just like you prompted.
PII. Oh, okay. Here. So say you want me to turn this into a requirements workshop. Miro, board layout, or structured interview guide for stakeholders. So you could start to keep doing this. Like, okay, yeah, make it into a Miro board. Um, do whatever. So that's kind of what it's going to give you. So know that, look how little time that took. That is so fast. How long would it take you to do this manually? And would you get all this stuff in there? Now, granted, maybe there's some things in here you want to throw out. It's like, okay, maybe it's more than I need, but there might be some key things in here that you didn't even think of. So, uh, that's kind of an example of what this can do for you. And let me look and see. I know we
one more prompt.
let's do it. We'll do one more prize. I was gonna say, I think we got maybe
Ask
time for
about
one
risk.
more. Let's do this. So we're going to talk about risk identification. So one of the things in the document gets into risk identification. So let me drop down. And you put the risk identification prompt out there in the chat.
Yes.
Yep. So we'll put that into our conversation here. So if you want to, we're going to talk about the risk. For the insurance claims notification project described, identify 10 to 15 potential risk across categories. And there's the categories for each risk, provide a risk description, a likelihood, an impact, and a potential mitigation strategy. So let's see what it comes up with there for that. Below is a set of 15 well-structured risks tailored to the claims status notification project described in the case study. So risk register technical risks, legacy integration failure, very good technical risk there. One of their problems is, if you remember from our case study, there's some integration issues between the old system and the Salesforce system and things like that. And there's some problems with the data. Uh, it's not, it's sometimes incorrect between the two systems. Real-time notification latency. Notification must be delivered within 15 minutes of a change, but it notes that ClaimTrack is a batch-oriented system. So, that's a nice wish, but how are we going to make that happen? If it's batch, like say things are running whatever 3 times a day, then we're going to have to bump up that batch cycle quicker. Data synchronization, that's definitely a risk. High notification bounce rates, meaning that if you sense that, we were saying some of that information may not be right in our CRM system. When you send SMS error and it errors out, you're still paying for that. So if half of your whatever 10% or something like that of your SMS notifications error out, you're paying for nothing. So you're going to pay for that, and it's going to cost you money. So you got to think about that. That's a risk. Message template, business rules, how to make sure that we can achieve the volume reduction, for customer opt-in rates, etc. So, that's kind of what it's going to come back with. Pretty powerful, really good ideas. Makes you think of things you might not have otherwise thought of. Does anybody want to, you want this turned into a risk heat map, racy, raid? So, yeah, so I think, let me, do we want to stop there, you think, Aaron, and see if anybody has questions, wants to discuss some
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. Let's see if
We
there's
got
any
about 4
questions.
minutes left, so I'll open the floor to discussion. Anybody want to share what they have or talk about their experience doing this or what they've seen that we showed?
Anybody get substantially different results than what Van has shared?
I got a table, a risk register,
Okay.
but it was the same, very similar content.
So put it in a nice table for you, huh?
Yep. Yep.
And one of the other things,
Me
yeah, go
it.
ahead. One of the other things I'll point out to y'all, just you may already be aware, but if you're not, in the case of some of the GPTs like Copilot, it has these little what would you call this? A tag that says, "Hey, this is where I got this from." So when it is, coming up and telling you these different things, it's putting tags in it to show, hey, here's the source that I used to get that train of thought. So each one of these has a tag on it that's saying, oh yeah, I got that from your case study.
So if it can cite
versus
its source, it's
that's
not
its site. That's what I want to
hallucinating
talk
it.
about. It's citing its source. So and that can help you too with your verification. Like if this is citing a source, that's you can go look at that source and say, hey, what is that? Does this agree with what I'm saying? In this case, we're feeding it the source directly. But you may have multiple sources that you're feeding into a conversation, and it's going to show you which source that it used. So, these citations are very useful as well, especially to verify the information that this is telling you. But I don't know. Anyone have any closing thoughts, ideas, comments before I finish this up? Um,
This was very useful. Thank you very much. It was very, very good. I look forward to the next session.
Yeah, come back next week. If you get a chance, now what I'll leave you all with is if you get a chance, read through that case study yourself. It's only 7 pages. Stick it in a file somewhere on your computer. Read through it. We're gonna upload it again next week, and we're gonna do more prompts and follow this process a little further. So, that way you'll understand a little bit more about what we're doing. And also, if we may come up with some prompts of our own that aren't, that Aaron and I haven't thought of. So you might have a prompt of your own that you came up with and think, hey, you know what, let's discuss that. So it's a working session for sure. So, take a look at that case study. And then next week, we're going to go through and dive a little deeper into some more prompts and talk about the results that we get and go from there. And we're going to learn about how these GPTs can be your assistant and help you work faster, better, be more valuable as a BA.
And next week we will be asking for requirements. So we will actually get into asking ChatGPT or your generative AI, whichever GPT you're using, for help in developing requirements. And then after that, we got more things that we're going to, I think we get into traceability, things of that
That's
nature.
right.
So, you could save this, your GPT will save this thing. We could just rejoin this chat next week, or we'll upload the document again and then start with our fourth prompt. And I believe it actually asks for requirements. So, and we got a couple prompts that ask for requirements. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
join us again next Monday at noon Eastern, and we will continue this.
thanks,
Any
everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Have a great week. See you Monday.